Attila, it's great that you're here, and you have Michael and George here, and they just finished a couple of shows on Next Best Thing with you here on Think Tech Friday, and we thought we'd take this opportunity to get some feedback on what's going on with MIC. Can you see if you can arrange a discussion along those lines?
I will make it happen right now. Here we go.
Right.
We have Michael Hernandez Soria and George Chalekin. You're from Shop Suey, and the guy who looks like Mr. Smith from The Matrix, which I'm sure you hear a lot. Mr. Anderson.
I have not heard that one before, but okay, I'll accept it.
Yes, there you go. It's a compliment. It's good. He's had a very
good.
Successful career. I forget the guy's name.
Okay.
But we're here to talk about a pretty serious topic, which is the Manoa Innovation Center, which is run by HTDC, the High Technology Development Corporation. A lot of acronyms. But all three of us are actually tenants there. So in some form, I think you got a really big office. You're virtual, is that what it is?
No, we have a small office, we have
have a small
141.
And then I have a small office too. I had a big office, then a smaller office. And, I'm not there all the time. So I thought maybe it'd be good to sit down and we could talk about what the mood is at MIC. What do you guys think? How does it feel there since we got just about a year left before UH takes over completely? And have you noticed anything different or changing the past year?
I mean, we have a great office there, and I think for me, being new to Hawaii, I didn't know that Manoa Innovation Center existed, and then almost as soon as we got in there as a tenant, our business the growth just started accelerating for our business. We were able to recruit better people, just everything started coming together for us, and it's an amazing place. And what I didn't know that it was sort of case closed and that UH was going to be taking over it. I'm really surprised to hear that, because it just doesn't seem like it would make sense to me. I think every university that I know of, I mean, I went to Duke and I'm a very involved alum at Duke University. Duke is fighting to get more startups closer to the university because it provides opportunities for students to do research and to work at afterwards. It helps a university attract better students, and it provides better opportunities for the students. I can't understand that if you had something as successful as the MIC already, why on earth they would choose to move it out if they had other options. It just doesn't. And I don't know what the background is, so I'm totally speaking just from my own experience, so it doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Well, how about you? What do you feel?
It's background pressure right now. I mean, I think everybody that's in there is kind of focused on the day-to-day and running their business. I like the other tenants. We're the kind of people that have a lot of energy, I think, and we can complement each other, even though sometimes I think we're in vastly different kinds of businesses. You're gonna hit the same kind of problems somebody else hits. For me, it's usually, hey, we've got a bunch of product, we've got to move. What do you guys do with social media? Do you have any tips? That kind of thing. There is some cross-pollination. There's some good energy. The people that run the joint are great. We love them. I feel the same way. It's kind of the business community, the university community, and the investment community that come together to make any entrepreneurial environment successful. And if we're going to be dismembered, I'm concerned. I wouldn't know where to go. Where do you find a good rent, a reasonable rent, and all of the other? We've got high-speed internet. We've got all kinds of other facilities that make an incubator or startup make sense.
Well, so what are you going to do in a year and a half? Or a year or so.
Get big fast.
Get big fast. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good kick in the pants. Like, you got this amount of time to build your customer base and start making some real money.
I think we have to look at it that way. And maybe, a year from now, when we're pricing out square footage in Chinatown, we'll come back and revisit it. But hopefully this is one of those things that's not a done deal. Maybe there's some way we can appeal to the powers that be.
It's possible. I just wonder. I mean, you've testified on behalf of the MIC. What are the other options? What have they considered, and why are they doing this?
Well, the way I see it, that it really has to do with the lease. So they were put on a 25-year lease. Was it 23 years ago or 24 years ago, something like that? And then that lease was from UH for the facility. And what that means is that they had that amount of time to, I guess, show their worth, and then they would revisit it that amount of time later. Now, to extend the lease, it has to go through several. It has to go through a sort of like a chain of command in the government. So I'm not a politician. I don't understand exactly how it works, but all I know is that there's a House, there's a Senate committee, there's this committee, there's that committee, and if it makes it through all the committees, you can get either an extension or whatever. Now, last year they tried to get an extension, and it was extended. I think it got through a few committees, and then eventually they just decided not to even look at it. So it's so difficult to even get. Yeah, I think it was like the finance committees. They decided, well, we just don't have time to even look at this. And so that's where it got kind of knocked down. And at that time, MIC also had Yuka, at the helm, which she's got a lot of clout. And she's a great person. She's now gone, so I think they're in limbo in terms of leadership, and a few other things changed over there. So I'm not exactly sure if they have that kind of momentum to do that again for this upcoming session. So I'm pretty sure that's where they stand. So I mean, if anyone knows anything else, feel free to put a comment on our website, thinktechhawaii.com. But how do you feel it's going to play out for you guys? Michael, George.
I don't know. I mean, I'm concerned that we've established a base of operations, and we've got some good relationships both internally with the other inhabitants and the folks that run the joint, and I'm a foosball table.
Well, Michael, do you feel that your business would have grown if you had been working out of your home or your garage the same way as it did for you now?
It would have been more difficult. I think we've been very fortunate. Would we have been as fortunate without the MIC? I don't know. I do know they've been incredibly supportive, and it's a great place to come to work, and there's an environment there that's definitely very supportive, and it's clear that there's a lot of good things that are coming out of there, and I'm really surprised that the real reason is complacency, and that this is happening by default merely because nobody is even looking at it. That's I mean,
you seem angry.
It's disappointing. It makes me sad to think that just like it's purely out of inertia that something that clearly a lot of people want to see happen is just not happening. That's
how it works. And when I testified, I went up and I said, all of us as a group, we drive out from the west side. So we drive all the way out from Eva Beach, Cunha, and we'll spend an hour and a half in traffic sometimes just to get to the office. That's how much we feel that it's of value. So if we feel it's that valuable, why doesn't anyone else, right? So
are you raising the bigger question about really how friendly Hawaii is to entrepreneurs, how friendly Hawaii is to startups? I mean, business aside, established business aside, just we're in that tenuous position of trying to get something off the ground. And I think, like you said, the fact that you've got a conference room to bring clients into confers legitimacy. The fact that you've got an address confers legitimacy. Besides your garage, I think there's so much that it does just in terms of the structure itself that we're going to lose big. It is, I don't know if I'm angry, disappointed is probably the right word, kind of stunned really, maybe more than anything. I'm still trying to process that they're really gonna pull the plug, and hopefully we can find a way. Maybe this is our call to action. Let's try to subvert that. It really doesn't make any sense for the state, it doesn't make sense for the entrepreneurs. It doesn't make sense to the university. I mean, like you were saying with Duke.
I almost want to make T-shirts like the Save Ferris deal.
I can help you with
that. It feels like there's a cause here that, at least some people feel passionate about.
Maybe that's what we do. Maybe this is the cause. We'll tilt at that windmill.
Well, I think if they're not going to get that land lease extension, then the next logical step is to find someplace else to transplant. So I heard rumors of Kaka'ako. You know, if anyone's heard of rumors, email me.
I've heard that rumor
Yeah.
too. I heard
You
it
heard
from a completely different direction. But Kaka'ako would be cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's less about the location. I love Manoa, but I think it's more about just kind of providing some sort of an infrastructure for businesses that don't have the ability to afford one. Because I mean, you're putting your money into so many other things. And I'm sure you're stretched as thin as we are. I'm sure you've been there for longer, so maybe you're stretched a little bit. No?
Me, Rich, I'm getting there.
All right. So because of the MIC, because you've been able to find a really good rent and flexible office space and all the other goodies that go along with it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're there night and day. We're working late. We had another guy in here a couple weeks ago. We bumped into each other at midnight in the lunchroom. He was sleeping down there. The stinky lunchroom, and that's why we brought him on the show. Yeah.
But that is what makes it great. When you're there at 10, 11 o'clock at night, at midnight, there are other people there. You don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
And that's part of what keeps you going in a startup is you're working harder than you can imagine. And it's really nice to know that there are other people going through what you're going through too. And to have that support is really helpful. If you're home alone doing this, it's just not the same. And it's hard to motivate yourself.
You put a camera on downtown at 5 p.m. I used to work downtown. You watch the lights just go bang, 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 bang as the cleaning crews go from top to bottom.
Yep.
5 o'clock is lunchtime, right? That's when everybody's hitting the vending machines and trying to get the Mountain Dew going for the next round. And where else can you go in this town? Where can you find Wi-Fi? We've sat in my car, my partner and I literally, with a little Wi-Fi box, sat in my car in the park and worked side by side in the front seats of the car because there isn't a coffee place that's open 24 hours. There's no place to go. I mean, it shuts down. Now that I'm thinking about it, you got me horrified. Thanks.
Horrified of what?
That we're going to get thrown out onto the street with our chattels and our half-baked.
You know what that means? It means you have to sell. But you know what it is say you have a 1 year. Actually, look at this. Look who's calling me.
Go.
That's so funny.
Shay.
That's Shay.
That's Shay.
Is she
You
calling
should
because she
answer.
wants to be on the show? Can you put her on from
Yeah,
from
let's
your
see.
phone?
We love Shay.
Shay? Hold on, here we go. Shoot, we lost her.
Here she comes.
We can call her back. No,
Yeah.
here we go. Yeah, we should call up Shay. Shay is actually our property manager.
She's
for
the
MIC.
den mother of the joint.
Are we on live right now or no?
Jay, are we on live? Oh, we are on live. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe we're told to stop talking. Let's see if she picks up. This would be hilarious.
That'd be great.
Yeah. That, by the way, is our property manager at the Manoa Innovation Center. And she could be watching live and not picking up the phone. Shay, I know you're watching. She's not
She's
picking
gonna call
up.
you back.
Yeah, maybe.
Call you back.
That's too bad. Either that or got it at the office before it got it right. Oh, okay, anyways. But,
Great
yeah.
discussion, Attila. Great discussion. Really important that you guys have that discussion, and we appreciate that you guys are covering the ground on that. So why don't you wrap it up, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, Jay. Well, thanks for having us on. We really appreciate you giving us the time to talk about the Manoa Innovation Center on the air. And of course, if you guys have any comments about the Manoa Innovation Center, or you want to give us an email, you can email Jay Fidel. He's J@FIDELL.com. And of course, George,
Chalekin.
Mike, Mr. Smith. Thanks, you guys, for coming by. And maybe if Jay lets us, maybe we'll come and do an update on MIC as the deadline approaches. All right, stay tuned, guys. More Think Tech is on the way.